Good evening, YouTube world. Ed Kirkpatrick. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate you coming. Got a story tonight, and it's a weird one. I remember reading this story in a Reader's Digest. I don't know if y'all familiar with a Reader's Digest, but it used to be a little book magazine type thing. You could see them in doctor's office, dentist's offices, anywhere you had to go sit and wait, there'd be a Reader's Digest magazine to keep you entertained. Those people in them days didn't have these to keep them entertained. So there'd be a magazine or whatever, Reader's Digest. I read this story. So today, it hit me about the story. So I went online trying to research, finding out about this feller, and I can't find nothing nowhere about it. Now, as far as I know, the story's true. But, you know, I always tell people to verify something, and tried to verify this story. But I remember reading it in Reader's Digest, and it was very interesting and uplifting, and it make you think a little bit. So here we go. Benard Schwartz. Yeah. He grew up in New York City in the Bronx. His daddy was a watchmaker. That's another thing, you know, watches. Oh, I took mine off while I go take a shower. Watches. Back in the day, people had watches. Yeah. And they wasn't battery operated. You had to wind them up. They break, somebody overwind one or drop it, whatever. So you had watchmakers. So Benard's daddy was a watchmaker in New York City in the Bronx at a jewelry store. Made a good living. A lot of watches be repaired in New York City in the day. So his daddy tried to get him to go into the same trade. That's what, you know, people did back in them days. But Benard didn't want nothing to do with watchmaking. He wasn't mechanically inclined. He was a reader. He was a thinker. He's basically lazy. But he's smart. No, Daddy, I'm going to find something else. Anyway, Benard graduated high school. Daddy told him, you know, son, you got to get out there and make your own. Now, I can't keeping you up. Time for you to make some money. Maybe move out of the house, start a family. Benard said, well, Daddy, yeah. He said, I got an idea, Daddy. But I need $400. Daddy said, well, what's your idea? Benard said, Daddy, I can't tell you. You're going to think you're stupid. But I'm going to have to leave the house. I don't know if it'll be for a week or 2 or 3 months. I'm going to have to leave the house. And I need that $400. And his daddy thought, well, boy's got something in mind, $400, and get him on out the house. And he gets out the house, maybe he'll figure it out real quick. So yeah, all right. So Benard got $400 and got this 1957 Chevrolet 3-on-a-tree Bel Air. Left the Bronx and headed to Cincinnati, Ohio with an idea and a dream. He was going to make a deal for $1 million. Benard got to Cincinnati, and well, it took, you know, about $50 worth of gas to get there. He said, man, he found a place to stay. Stayed at the Y for $5 a night. He brought with him some regular clothes, and he brought with him his little 3-piece suit and a bow tie. Bow ties were fashionable back in the day. We're talking 1966, to be exact. 1966. So Benard got settled in that day. The next day he walked around town and he was looking for the offices of Procter and Gamble. And he found them. He scoped out a place where to park, you know. Said, all right, be back in the morning. We'll make my deal. Benard got up next morning, cleaned up, got his suit on with his little bow tie. It was red and white checkered. Kind of clashed with his blue suit, white shirt. Found him a place to park there early in the morning, and as the building was opening up, Benard got out a little small briefcase, not very big at all, real thin, and proceeded to go into the Procter and Gamble building. And went to the desk and said, I need to see the president. She said, well, Mr. Smith, I'll just call him Smith. I don't know the president's name of Procter & Gamble at that time. He said, but Mr. Smith is a busy day. He has no... Can I ask your reason for seeing Mr. Smith? He said, yeah, I got an idea. Increase his toothpaste sales by 20% overnight. Almost overnight, but yeah. She said, well, I'll pass that along. Of course, she didn't do nothing. But Benard Schwartz was one persistent son of a gun. He come to Cincinnati, Ohio, to Procter & Gamble. He's going to leave with $1 million check. Hey, well, excuse me a minute. Old bad habit. See, I thought it wasn't lit, but it still got, like a good cigar in the evening, boys. Anyhow, so Benard's back the next morning. Come in and said, can I see Mr. President, Mr. Smith? She said, sir, he's not here today. I said, no. She said, well, do you mind if I sit in the lobby a little bit? I said, oh, go ahead. So he sits in the lobby a little bit. He noticed a couple other people coming in there and asking for Mr. Smith. Then they get sent right up on the elevator at that. So he sits there and watches that and gets back up after lunch, you know, and goes over and says, did Mr. Smith get back? I hear a few people coming in asking for him. Well, sir, you're not on his appointment list. He said, well, I'd like to have a meeting with him. What's he going to take? She says, sir, I don't know. I've passed your information along the lines. Benard said, all right. So Benard got up the next morning just a little earlier than normal. Rode down to the Procter & Gamble building in downtown Cincinnati, Ohio. Kind of rode around a little bit. He'd seen some pictures in the lobby. You know how you got them in the lobby of the past president, this one, and then the future president, the new president of the company. And he noticed him standing beside a quite unique 50-something Hudson. Benard said, you know, I think I saw that car driving in the other day. So he rode around there and he saw that car where it was parked at, right at the back door of the big building. So, man, Chris Smith still had the car, and he was parking there every morning. So Benard said, all right. So the next morning, Benard got up real early, got down there at 6 o'clock. He's going to catch old man Smith coming out of his Hudson. Well, when he got there at 6 o'clock, the Hudson was already there. He's like, dang. He goes up and just jiggles on the back door. It won't unlock. Back in those days, he used the key. Man, if any welt, you hear him walk, he can jangle. Because he's got keys. Nowadays, you hear somebody walking jangling because they got keys is, well, they ain't wealthy, but they looking after everything. Anyhow, back to the story. So Benard said, doggone, he must be getting here early. He said, oh no, maybe that car's just, somebody just moved it, just sitting there in it. So later that afternoon, he went by there, the car was gone. So he had, yeah, it proved to him Mr. Smith was driving that car. I don't know what time he gets to work, but he ain't, I'm going to get him in the morning. So Benard got up super early, still staying at the Y, put on his nice suit and everything. Got down there at 4:30 in the morning, and Mr. Smith's car wasn't there. And this is back in the days, people build these buildings, they didn't have security or anything like that. You didn't need it. I mean, there'd be a late night policeman riding around the city. But his thing was, you know, traffic control mostly. Making sure wasn't nobody laying dragged down the middle of Pennsylvania Avenue or doing donuts at the red light at 65. Anyhow, so he sat there, and there come that daggum Hudson driving up. Parked in the parking spot. He got out of his car at the same time, walked over there as Mr. Smith got out. Met Mr. Smith in the parking lot. Said, Mr. Smith, I've been sitting in the lobby. Want to talk to you for almost a week now. 10 days or something. I got an idea to make me and you both a heap of damn money. But won't nobody let me talk to you. Mr. Smith said, well, Mr. Smith, I can imagine Mr. Smith was a big old little chubby fat guy with one of these cigars coming out of his mouth. Son, how you intend to do that? He said, well, I'll tell you if you sit down and have a meeting with me. But I just ain't going to tell you on the sidewalk and you steal my idea. I said, boy, you call for cocky and everything. What the hell are you doing wearing a bow tie? So I'm from New York City. He says, oh, God. What's your name? So I told you, Benard Schwartz. He said, all right, come on. Well, I got a little time. Just get us a cup of coffee. You tell me your idea, and I'll tell you if it's worth anything. All right. So here he got his chance. Met with Mr. Smith. Had that cup of coffee. Mr. Smith sat back and said, all right, boy. How in the heck are you going to help me out? He said, well, Mr. Smith, your toothpaste business, which Procter & Gamble's Crest, one of the most popular brands out there. Not the most popular. Colgate is. He said, I'm going to show you how you can increase your sales 20% at least, maybe 30, by making one little change. in your operations. He said, well, yeah, come on, talk, tell me. And he said, well, before I do that, I got to sell you the idea. He said, tell me the idea, dog. You try to sell me on it. He said, well, no. Tell you the idea. You know it. Boy, I don't understand where the heck you come from. He said, well, Mr. Smith, he said, I need $1 million for the idea. You guarantee me $1 million, and I'll guarantee you increase your toothpaste sales 20 to 30%. He says, fine. I guarantee you $1 million. We got that. How you gonna guarantee me 20 to 30% sales? He said, I got it. I got that too. You got the money, I got the idea. He said, boy, company doing good. If this is hard times, I tell you to hit the damn road. But all right, if I guarantee you $1 million, you gonna tell me how I can increase the sales of toothpaste by 20 to 30% without spending any big bunch of money on advertising and all that crap? And he said, yeah, I'm gonna tell you. All right, you got a deal. Schwartz shook his hand and said, he wouldn't let go. He said, Mr. Smith, I know you're a man of your word, and I'm a man of my word. So I'm fixing to tell you how to do it. Mr. Smith read back. All right, son. Tell me how we're going to do it. Then you're going to make some big money, ain't me? He said, you're dang right. But before I get into that, I want to tell you about toothpaste, okay? People have been having to clean their teeth since there was people. I don't want to go way back 5,000 BC or whatever, and people grinding horse hooves and using them, but just get a little more modern times. Basically, old country folks would brush their teeth with their finger and some baking soda. Yeah. Rinse their mouth out with salt water, things like that. Then somebody come up with what they call tooth powder, which is a combination of baking soda and some other surfactants and maybe a few more silica sand for abrasive. Anyway, it developed on, and there was a feller worked for Colgate now. Now Colgate, it surprised me, Colgate is your #1 seller of toothpaste. I think they're owned by a Unilever. I don't know. I should know that. But anyway, guy working for Colgate in 1890. Remember, they still had tooth powder. You'd buy a little pouch of powder. You dip your finger in, or they came out with a toothbrush. You brushed your horse and your teeth with it at the same time. No, I'm kidding. But he was over in France. He noticed some painters. They had started putting their paint in these tubes. And they were metal tubes. Back then, actually, they were made out of lead. And they would, and he thought, man, we could take that powder, put a little water with it, put it in a tube, make a paste, charge way more money than we're charging for the powder. So people with powder, they They just buy a buck of baking soda or baking soda. Anyhow, that's how the toothpaste in the present container came. Remember, it was lead. It was lead right on up to early 60s, and some of them were still lead after that. But anyhow, as plastics evolved, toothpaste started coming in a little tube like this. So now we get to the meat and potatoes of the story. So Benard told Mr. Smith, he said, Mr. Smith, here's all you got to do. Here's a tube of your toothpaste, right? He said, yeah. He said, here's all you got to do. Now, this is a brand new roll of toothpaste, so you're going to notice when I show it to you. You're going to know what I'm talking about. Because back in the day, when you uncork the thing of toothpaste, and a lot of them, I remember growing up, they were in metal tubes and lead, and you had to take a pin or something and poke a hole in the little metal seal at the top, even though you took a little screw cap off, poke a hole in it to make toothpaste come out. But even if you took a pencil and tried to poke it in the hole, just a normal pen, it wouldn't, the tube was real small. So you put just a little bit of toothpaste. Your toothbrush, brush your teeth. Yeah, I did my brush my teeth, I'm done. Well, Benard said, Mr. Smith, all you got to do is open up the hole on this tube, and people will use 20, 30% more. And they'll have to buy more toothpaste because they're going to run out sooner. Mr. Smith said, you think so? He said, yeah. He said, look at them. You do it when you brush your teeth. You take that tube and you squeeze it and you put that little old stripe on the brush and you go all the way from one end to the other end of the brush, don't you? Yeah. You never think about this. That big old hole in it, and you go from one end to the other end of that brush. That's a whole lot more toothpaste. That means a whole lot more sale because they're consuming more. If they consume your product, they got to have more. Mr. Smith said, all right. Let me get my man to draw up some papers and I'll have you a check this afternoon. You can wait in the lobby if you want. So I'll just wait out in my car. So he waited out in his car, and a few minutes later, Mr. Smith come out there with some papers and had him sign them, give him a check for $1 million. Benard was sure thankful because he would get $35 in his pocket. He done spent between eating and paying the wife all his money, getting his laundry done. So, Benard always liked Florida. He did. So he went by the bank there in Cincinnati. The check was rolled off of. Went in there and told me he wanted to get his $1 million. And they said, Mr. Schwartz, we don't have $1 million on hand. And I can get you $1 million, but you sure you do what you want to do? Best thing that you need to do is open an account with us, and then wherever you get to you going, start you another account, and we'll transfer you money. He says, all right. So I'm going to put $999,000 in this bank. I want $1,000 for the road. I said, oh, no problem. 65 now. So he does that, gets $1,000, goes to payphone, calls his daddy, told daddy he got his $1 million, he'd send him his $400 as soon as he got him a checking account. And doggone ladybug hit me in the face. He was headed to Florida. He let him know when he got there. So Benard struck out to Florida, got down there to Florida. Benard always wanted to live in the warm weather. He was tired of New York City, the damp, cold, and dirtiness. And, he wanted to get where it's warm all the time. So got down around Orlando and got looking around and found an old log cabin on about 20 acres. Bought that. And then the real estate guy he bought that from, so he had some more land for sale. So Benard started buying land, and the real estate guy started putting Benard on land. And Benard bought about 1,000 acres around Orlando, Florida, 1966, 1967. Well, Benard sat back, had a good time. Nice, simple man. Got married, 2 kids. Then one day, this guy come up named Walt Disney. Wanted to buy most of that land he had. Benard said, well, can't take it with me. Let me check with my kids and see how much they want. So we did, and he raised his kids right. They said, oh, Daddy, we won't leave a couple 100 acres. We'll be fine. Y'all pick out your couple 100 acres, because this fella out of daggone California wants to buy it. So anyway, yep. The kids kept a little bit. Benard made the first $1 billion land sale in Florida. Yep. Unreal. All from making a toothpaste tube, opening bigger. Thanks for stopping by. Psst. Best kept secret on YouTube. Appreciate everybody. Ed Kirkpatrick. Come see us when you can. We'll be at the Okie Homestead, March 22, 23, Pryor, Oklahoma. I'll be there. We'll sit down and have a cup of coffee. We'll go have a beer later that night. We make it arrange that. But, yep. See y'all. Adios. Bye.